So good afternoon, everyone. I am Jessica Seibert, the new City Administrator here in Sandstone. And on behalf of the City of Sandstone, I'd like to welcome you all here today to commemorate the groundbreaking of Lundorff Drive. Now, this project is a celebration of determination, collaboration, and opportunity. Many people have committed countless hours to the development of the Sandstone Business and Medical Park, which will be accessed by Lundorff Drive. A collaboration of city staff, elected officials, engineers, attorneys, developers, and many more have worked together to support the construction of Lundorff Drive. We look forward to the opportunities that this infrastructure project will promote and thank all of those that played a role in making today a possibility. Now, the City of Sandstone was very fortunate to receive a $2.3 million federal EDA grant as part of the infrastructure funding package. We are grateful today to have several government representatives with us. First, representing U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, please help me in welcoming Ida Rukavina.
Yesterday I was at an event and I tried to pull a mic down since I'm a little short and it knocked over and it was horrible. So I'm hoping this one won't fall today. But thank you guys for having me. Senator Klobuchar really wanted to be here today, but the Senate is in session out in D.C. and so she wasn't able to attend in person. I do have a letter to read from her. So dear Jessica and Sam and friends, thank you for the invitation to join you today as you break ground for the Lundorff Drive Extension. Although I am unable to personally attend, I want to take the time to congratulate you on this step in working towards the completion of the Sandstone Business and Medical Park. Today, you are celebrating the accomplishments of a lot of hard work from a lot of different people. Federal, state, and local participants came together to fund this infrastructure needed to complete your new medical campus. Earlier this year, many of you gathered to celebrate the groundbreaking of the Pine Healthcare Campus, and now you're here again today to celebrate an investment of over $2 million that was received from the Federal Economic Development Administration grant. It is because of the work that you do that Sandstone and the surrounding communities will benefit from this investment in infrastructure and healthcare. I want to thank each of you who had a part in making this happen, and I'm proud to serve you in the United States Senate. Sincerely, Amy Klobuchar.
Thank you, Ida, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today. And we are also honored to have a representative from U.S. Senator Al Franken's office here. Please welcome Stu Lowry to say a few words on behalf of Senator Franken.
Hello, thank you for having me today. I know the Senator would like to be here. He's also in D.C., the Senate's in session, but I also have a short letter that I'd like to read from him. Dear friends, please accept my warmest greetings as you break ground for the Lundorff Drive Extension and make way for the Sandstone Business and Medical Park. I'm sorry I can't join you in person, but send my best wishes and heartfelt congratulations to all those who made today possible. Thank you to the City of Sandstone for their forward-thinking and important investment in advancing medical care and services in the area. In particular, I'd like to recognize newly retired City Administrator Sam Griffith, who, along with other city officials, worked for over 10 years to see this project realized. With ongoing community partners and additional investment from the Economic Development Agency, this medical park will not only help better address the healthcare needs of countless Minnesotans, but also help support our community and families by providing more high-skilled jobs in the region. Again, congratulations on this exciting milestone. I look forward to hearing more about your future successes. Sincerely, Al Franken.
Thank you, Stu, for bringing us that message from Senator Franken. At this time, I would like to welcome Mark Pravratsky with a few words from U.S. Representative Rick Nolan.
Thanks, Jessica. So I'm Mark Pravratsky. I'm Congressman Nolan's field rep in the Duluth area, and I'm going to share some remarks from him today. Dear friends, what a great day for the City of Sandstone as we break ground on stage one of what is destined to become one of our region's finest healthcare and business industrial facilities. What a tribute to the tireless efforts of our former City Administrator Sam Griffith, who worked for 11 years to help make this day happen. Let's give Sam a round of applause. Hats off as well to Mayor Carl Steffen, City Administrator Jessica Siebert, and Project Manager Greg Anderson, and to all of those in the community who've dedicated so much time and effort to this project. I'll never forget the morning a couple of years ago when my field representative Rick Olsine and I arrived on the site for what we originally thought would just be a little planning meeting and photo session. But the much bigger news that day was that this $2.3 million federal economic development grant we had worked so hard to obtain had just been approved. So Rick and I had quite a welcoming committee that included many of you here today, and you'll recall that our little meeting became an impromptu celebration of this success. As you may or may not know, Minnesota only gets back about 65 cents from the federal government for every dollar we send to Washington, while many states get back $4 and $5. So I've made it my mission to help even the score and leave no stone unturned to advocate for worthy projects that support our communities, bring good paying jobs, and make life better for everyone. And this project is a shining example of what can be accomplished when we partner with local officials, legislators, and business leaders to advocate for our interests. And there's more good news. A year from now, we'll have a vacant healthcare facility here in Sandstone ready to be reused for another good cause. So next Monday, my staff, Rick Olsine in particular, has arranged for top representatives of the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs to come and tour the old hospital with an eye towards turning it into a lawn care facility for our military veterans. We'll have local officials, legislators, and other community leaders on hand to help show them why we have an ideal location to provide our heroes with the care they've earned in support to our great nation. And I'll be doing everything in my power to see that we're successful in that effort. So again, thanks and congratulations to you all. Now let's get those shovels in the ground and turn some dirt. Sincerely, Congressman McClellan.
Thank you, Mark, for joining us today and bringing that message from Representative Nolan. Not yet time for the shovels. We're getting there.
He gets excited.
Yeah. So in addition to the federal funding, many hours were spent at the state capitol advocating for this project. The result was a state local road improvement program award of $1.35 million and a deed grant in the amount of $200,000. I'd like to recognize two people that played an important role in representing the city of Sandstone at the state level. First, please welcome State Senator from District 11, Tony Laurie.
Well, thank you, Jessica, and thank you for all of the efforts of all of our federal and local officials. This was a really long, winding, often circuitous path to a fairly short, straight stretch of road that should be maybe a little easier to come by, but it has been a real lift. And this is the little engine that could here in Sandstone, serving the entire region of northern Pine County with health care that is an absolute need for our region. This is the only hospital facility in the region, and you know the contract with Essentia goes back over 20 years. It wasn't serving the needs of the contract members. It wasn't serving the needs of the community. There was a long work to try to make sure that got smoothed out. We had to do studies to find out what the local need for healthcare was and sort of try to have the right path for the right facility to serve this region. That was actually a significant barrier that we overcame, and we have a unified healthcare campus that's going to have inpatient and outpatient and clinic services and rehab services and pharmaceutical services and a long-term care facility and room for expansion for affiliated businesses and maybe an assisted living facility. It's really going to be first-class healthcare for our region, and Lundorff Drive is a critical piece of that. That was the lift that the city of Sandstone needed to make. I recall in 2014 we got in the bonding bill for a small $200,000 project that we thought was going to make it, and then lo and behold, through some permitting and extra research, we found that the culverts that we thought weren't going to work, and in order to get it done on time, we were going to need a bridge. That's a lot more money. That's a lot more difficult. But still has to be delivered on a timeline. And through the incredible efforts of the city left the legislature with a really positive impression. In fact, bonding chair, retiring State Senator Leroy Stumpf, every time I see them, says, "Hey, how are you rascals from Sandstone? Say hi to them for me." Well, they were a fixture in 2014, making the case for how important this little stretch of road is to serve this healthcare campus and this region in our healthcare needs. And so then, when the $200,000 was found to be insufficient, it was actually a much easier lift in 2015. People remembered how important this was and understood that, through some of the permitting and the requirements that were needed, we had to still make sure that the state played its role and was the partner that was needed to see this through to completion. So with the extra $850,000 that was in the small bonding bill in 2015, and thank goodness it was there since we didn't get a bonding bill in 2016 just yet, we are able to be here today to throw a couple of shovels full of dirt and get us off to get this long-standing vision of retiring City Administrator Sam Griffith and all of the Sandstone team up and running. And I'm just really proud to have played a small role in the latest couple of chapters. And again, as was mentioned by Representative Nolan's staff, the next chapters are trying to use the healthcare facilities in town. I think that the Veterans Home would be a tremendous asset to this entire community, this entire region, and our state and our nation, to tell you the truth. And I'm not going to be able to be there on Monday, but there have been several questions from the state level in terms of how that would play out with the use of nursing home beds and moratoriums and funding issues. And I've taken all of those questions, and I've been doing all of the research, and I will have a thorough memo available on Monday that will address from the state's perspective what the funding opportunities are for that and how the rates will play out, and be available for additional questions in future meetings, and see if we can together work on the next chapters of healthcare for Northern Pine County. And just wonderful day, glad to be here, be a part of it, and be a part of the most recent chapters, and look forward to the next chapters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Laurie, for your time spent on this project and continued support of the Sandstone area. Also advocating for this project at the state level, please join me in welcoming State Representative from District 11B, Jason Rarick.
Thank you, everyone, for inviting me to be here today. I'm generally not someone to speak very much, so it's great following Senator Laurie. He always hits the highlights. So, we seem to get a lot of credit for having gotten the funding. There are three individuals, though, that spent so much time coming down. Sam Griffith, Ron Osledal, and Lenny Bonander made so many trips down to the Capitol. They made our job really easy. They impressed upon everyone down there how important this was for the area. So I think they deserve a lot of the credit, far more than we do. So it is so great to see, I was not involved with many of the steps along the 10 years, 11 years to get here. But when we found out the issue with the bridge rather than a culvert and the extra funding that was needed, those are the issues that I see. When the state puts that kind of a mandate on an area, the state can step up and help pay for that extra cost. And so I was really happy to be involved and do my part to help get that through. So, and the next phase, I'm really hoping we can do what's needed to repurpose the old buildings and get them to VA centers. So again, thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to working with the city as whatever I can do to help in these next stages.
Thank you, Representative Rarick, for being here today and advocating for the city of Sandstone. We do appreciate your commitment to the success of this project. Next, speaking on behalf of the city of Sandstone, please give a warm welcome to Mayor Carl Steffen.
Welcome to Sandstone. This is an exciting day for our community. Today we break ground on a new road and infrastructure that will not only provide access to a state-of-the-art medical campus, but will also open up a 181-acre business park to market future economic development. There are billboards and signs all along I-35 that advertise and promote the medical campus site. People can view the medical campus site as they drive by on the freeway. This will let people know that Sandstone is progressing and growing. We invite people to not just drive by, but get off the highway and join us in growing. In the fall of 2014, when I was running for mayor, I was interviewed by the local newspaper, the Pine County Courier. I was asked what my priorities were for the city of Sandstone. I said I hoped for development near the I-35 interchange, and I said that I wanted to make sure the envisioned medical campus project projected and got underway. This project was being planned and formulated before I came into office, and admittedly, I was not much more than a cheerleader, encouraging folks who had been working on this plan to keep going and keep moving forward. So I don't want to take credit for this. It reminds me that Christmas Day is just like a construction site. You end up doing all the work and some fat guy in a suit takes all the credit. Most of the people who deserve the credit are here today. Senator Amy Klobuchar, represented today by Ida Rukavina. You know, and as a retired law enforcement officer, I love a former prosecuting attorney. Senator Al Franken, represented by Stu Laurie. I just got to say, Stu was a star of the theater stage when we were back here. And after I retired, I got involved in community theater, and I was told I did all right, but I was no Stu Laurie. Now here I am at this event following Stu Laurie. I can hear it tomorrow. You know, you did okay, Carl, but you were no Stu Laurie. Congressman Rick Nolan, represented here today by Mark Kravatsky. I got to meet Congressman Nolan last spring when he took time out of a very busy day to stop by and visit about our project. State Senator Tony Laurie. Not only did he help with this project, but he and his family have a long history of being very supportive to this community. Representative Jason Rarick. In his first year as our representative, he went right to work ensuring that we got state funding for our road project. We're very lucky to have Jason and Tony in our community. Members of the North Pine Area Hospital District. Pine County Commissioners. Commissioner Matt Ludwig is here with us today. And our recently retired city administrator, Sam Griffith. He worked diligently on this project till the day he left the office. If this were a baseball game, I would say that Sam pitched a strong, solid 8 innings, and then the game was turned over to our closer, our new administrator, Jessica Seibert, who pitched a 1-2-3 inning to finish the game. I would also like to recognize our city staff. They do the hard work behind the scenes and usually go unnoticed. And if you folks would just stand up for a minute. Lois Newey, Elena Tyson, Leah Johnson, and Chuck Ryan. Our public works staffs, a couple of them are here today, John Mickrit, Paul Peters, Larry Volk. I'm sure they're real happy that we're creating another road for them to make. The people I mentioned are responsible for this project. You know, I once interviewed for a job where the employer says, we want somebody for this job who is responsible. I said, your search ends with me. My previous job, whenever something went wrong, everyone said I was responsible. But most of all, I want to thank the community for being very supportive and encouraging throughout this process. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Steffern. We are all excited to see the opportunities that lie ahead for the city of Sandstone. Now, there's probably no one person that spent more time, energy, and heart on this project than retired city administrator Sam Griffith. Personally, I'm very thankful that Sam's foresight and ambition to get Lundorff Drive project to this stage was prior to my start date. So thank you for that, Sam. Please join me now in welcoming Sam Griffith.
Thank you. I appreciate all the nice comments. I'm embarrassed, actually. And
speaking in front of a group scares me, okay, even though I've been doing this for a long, long time. But when Jessica said that you were going to do this, I wanted to make sure that there were a lot of other people involved. You know, we talk about 10, 11 years. There's a lot of other people and groups involved that did a lot of the heavy lifting that got us to this point. And I want to make sure that we recognize them. You've got, the city of Sandstone has a planning commission who spent time redoing the comp plan so something like this can happen, studying the interchange as to what should happen, having study work done to find out what it would take to get across Skunk Creek, and doing an economic development plan for the city that says, look, your number one priority should be getting a new hospital in town. We also need to remember and thank the previous mayors and city council members who took the information that came from the planning commission and said, yeah, we believe that this is what we need to do, let's go out and do it. We have our consultants, the engineer, the attorney, and our fiscal consultant. The engineer said, sure, we can do that. The attorney goes, well, you might not want to do it that way. And the financial advisor goes, well, here's how you can do it, here's what it would cost. But without that information, the other elected officials couldn't make the decisions necessary. When we figured out what it was going to cost, having representatives like Senator Lori, Representative Rarick, and I also need to mention Representative Tim Faust for that. You know, they say they don't want to take any credit. Well, you know, going down to the legislature is one thing, but getting access to people, getting access to the important legislators. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been able to talk to Leroy and some of these other people to be able to make the case. There were members of the community and members of the hospital district who stood up and said, we're going to keep a hospital in town. We're going to make sure this happens. And so as you come back, there were a lot of people, the community, who said, yes, this is important, do this. I get some of the credit, but I also have to go back to the elected officials who said, yeah, this is important, figure out how to do it. And let us, the consultants and everything, let us figure out how to do it and come back, and that's very much appreciated. On a personal note, you don't realize how important this is. There were a lot of nights when I didn't think this was going to happen. And thank you, Sal. This has been a dream of the community. And this is the economic future of the community. And thank you for coming, and let's throw some dirt.
Finally, there's one person here today that probably knows every curve and elevation of Lundorff Drive. He's done an amazing job planning the details of this project, and he serves as a valuable resource for everyone involved in this endeavor. Please help me in welcoming Project Manager Greg Anderson of Short, Elliott & Hendrickson.
Thank you. I don't know who put the agenda together, but who puts the engineer at the end? I mean, all excitement now, the poor engineer has to get up there. I'd like to thank the council and Sam and Jessica for being able to work with the city on this project. Everyone's mentioned how long it's been. I went back in my notes, some of the reports we worked on. I think in 2005, we started looking at what kind of infrastructure would we need to open up the former airport for development. And about every 2 years, Sam would call or email and say, what are those costs in today's terms? What are those costs in today's terms? So we're going to get this project done. And we did. The city did. Here we are. So back, 2005, we looked at how we're going to get water and sewer out here. We started looking at the road a little bit later. Once the hospital picked this site, then the work really began, both for the hospital district, and Essentia, and the city. So where did we start? Well, we started on how we're going to get across Skunk Creek. And according to FEMA, who's in charge of any crossings of public water, that's a new crossing, and we could not impact the floodway. Even though we got the highway over here, we got the railroad over here, who have a pipe like this, we had to put in a pipe like this. And oh, by the way, if you want to get that approved, it's going to take you 13 to 22 months to get it done. Went back to Sam with that good news, and Sam said, well, we'll see what we can do. And about 2 months later, he said, well, we're going to go after the EDA grant. We've got to have all our permits in place. What else can we do? I said, well, we can build a bridge. Well, what's that going to cost? Well, we need another $1 million. Well, then Eric and Lowry stepped up, got the $1 million. And I thought, well, this is pretty easy. Let's go. So, you know, there's a long story on how we got to the bridge. That's kind of the Cliff Notes version. Because of the funding in place and the timing, the hospital's getting under construction or ready to start ground last fall and said, hey, we need water and sewer and a road. Yeah, we had to do the bridge. So that's how the bridge got in the plan. There's a rendering back there. We'll see what it looks like this fall if we get close to the picture that we come up with or not when the bridge is done. So along with the bridge and crossing the creek, there's a ton of environmental work going on that had to be done. We had timelines the hospital was trying to meet. The city needed to meet for funding. Worked on final design. We got the EDA grant. We had to go to Chicago, meet with them, find out what their requirements are for the plans, for the funding and all that. And that's a whole other process that Jessica and I will get to embark on, making sure the EDA pays the city back for all the project costs that we were receiving. We initially received MnDOT funding, so we had to work with MnDOT. We had to work with Pine County. There'll be new turn lanes out on Highway 23 where the new Lundorff is. Everyone can see the cut through the trees that we made about 1.5 years ago so we could start the design process. There'll be a dedicated right turn for southbound Lundorff for coming into town. There'll be dedicated left turns for both Lundorff North and South when we're all done. MnDOT coordination. There again, another entity that doesn't move super fast. Got through it, got here today. Of course, when we were siting where we were going to cross Skunk Creek, one of the things the environmental folks ask is minimize your impact to wetlands. So we picked the narrowest point to put the bridge, and wouldn't you know it, there's a Greater River Energy power pole right where we were going to put the bridge. They want to put a median in there, so we had to work with them last fall, which came at a cost. They worked great with us, moved the pole, raised the lines up, so now when the new bridge is built, there'll be plenty of clearance to the power lines up ahead when we cross the new bridge. So we finally got through the plans, got them done, got them approved by EDA, got them approved by MnDOT, and then the last step was an agreement with the city and the county. Couldn't get that done. Again, Sam, got to be another way to do this. Calls up MnDOT and says, can we be our own fiscal agent? MnDOT said, well, I suppose we can. Because the city's not a state aid city, meaning they're under 5,000. Any funds from the state have to go through the county. Well, Sandstone got over that hurdle too. Sandstone got to be their own fiscal agent. Quick redraw of all the plans, change all the project numbers, get them back through MnDOT. Got the bidding approved in April. Had our bid opening a little bit later than we hoped. A little later than the hospital hoped, but still in time for construction season. We're crossing our fingers. Jessica's about the second week on the job. We're opening bids on the largest infrastructure project in the city's history. We got 9 bids. Never would have guessed we had 9 bids. Most of them under the estimate. We got great bids. The low bidder is R.L. Larson out of St. Paul. Great contractor. We're ready to start. We plan to be starting next week. Moving dirt, cutting down trees. Quick talk of the schedule. We've got a layout of the project here. Anybody has any questions or wants some more info after, I'll be hanging around, answer any questions you have. As you can see, here's 23 at the top, the hospital here, the long-term care, and we're down here at the airport site down here. So you can see it's quite a long project, a little over a mile. We're going to start work, like I said, next week. By early November, the road, the bridge, and the sewer and water all have to be done and ready to use down past the hospital by the first week in November. So they've got water and sewer access next spring when they open. By next July, the rest of the work needs to be done all the way down to the end of the run. We might get done sooner, but those are the critical dates that the contractors assured us they're going to meet and get done so we can get to the new hospital, and when they turn the faucet on, the water will come up. Again, it's been an exciting project. I've enjoyed working with the city. I've been working with them almost my entire engineering career, and this project has been the focal point of that whole thing, so it's very exciting to be here and be here. I'd just like to thank Deb and Emily from our office here that helped Jessica put this together. And again, thank the council and Mayor and Sam and Jessica for allowing me to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I think you read my notes because my next item that I wanted to say was thank you to Emily and to Deb from SEH, in addition to Greg, for helping us put all of this together. They did all of the beautiful artwork, and they've done this before, so really I could not have done this without them, so thank you. One final word before we grab our shovels and our hard hats is I received a letter from Randy Lasky from the North Span Group. North Span Group played a large role in helping us with this project. He wasn't able to come here today because he's on vacation, but we'll cut him some slack. He did send a letter, so I just want to quickly read the letter that he sent. City of Sandstone officials and project development partners, congratulations on a job well done. Unfortunately, Bob Palmquist, who's also on vacation, senior business developer, and I are both on vacation this week and unable to attend this momentous groundbreaking for the extension of Lundorff Drive and the start of construction of the critical public infrastructure needed to open access and position the business park for a new medical campus and other future development. This project has been in the planning stages for 10 years plus, and the North Span Group has been a part of the consultant team working to see this develop, going back to the initial conversations and the economic strategy that has guided this work. We want to thank the former City Administrator Sam Griffith for his leadership in coordinating and facilitating this overall project to the point of securing all the necessary funding to support the medical campus and sustaining and enhancing its significance for the future of Sandstone and surrounding service area. There are so many public and private partners that came together to make this happen, from local legislative representatives to the hospital district, Sandstone EDA, City Council and Planning Commission, Chamber of Commerce, Pine County, Pine Tech, the East Central Regional Development Commission, Federal Economic Development and Administration, MnDOT and DEED, as well as Essentia Health and the Gateway Clinic and Pharmacy. These players, along with a professional consultant team of financial engineering and grant packaging, have been instrumental, and North Span appreciates the opportunity to make a major contribution to its success. We hope you have a grand celebration and will look back with pride on this major public-private accomplishment. Best regards, Randy Lasky and Bob Palmquist. So, finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Now, we have quite a few people to dig, so rather than putting you all around the pile, we're going to do it in two groups here. So, if the first few folks that I read your name, if you can come join me over here and don a hard hat and shovel. And then we're going to do a second group with City Council members, Val Palmer, Tim Franklin and Phil Kester are here today, myself, and if there is anyone from Decker and Associates, we'll include them in the second round. But first I'd like to invite Ida back, and Stu, Mark, Senator Lowry, Representative Rarick, Mayor Steffen, Sam, Greg, and if we have a representative from R.L. Larson, if you want to grab your shovels and hard hats, we will meet over at the dirt pile. You don't hear that often. Come on. On the count of three, you can just do a little shovel. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! All right.